Chapter 401, Mo Lao Mo's new skin. The war between the demon realm and the Buddhist Pure Land was foreseen by all major realms, but they did not expect that the Purple Flame Demon Emperor would take action personally. All the big guys were very confused and didn't understand what the Purple Flame Demon Emperor was trying to do. The other three demon kings in the demon realm were equally puzzled and sent messengers to inquire about the situation. Could it be that some treasure appeared in the realm battlefield? Otherwise they can't explain it. They could never imagine that all this was just because the Purple Flame Demon Emperor wanted to get back at his wits' end. He was just so willful. So what? The Demon King took action and the Buddha fought with him. Amitabha, as the first incarnation of the Buddha, immediately knew the situation over there. He immediately sent a message to the immortal Emperor Bei Ming to inform him of the situation. The Purple Flame Demon Emperor took action? Why? Bei Ming Immortal Emperor didn't understand. I don't know why either. But Immortal Emperor, I have to go back to the Pure Land of Buddhism. Only the two Buddhas are there, and I may not be able to suppress the Purple Flame Demon Emperor. Amitabha was a little embarrassed and apologetic. To be honest, this war was entirely caused by the negligence of the Buddhist Pure Land. As a result, the Northern Territory Immortal Realm paid the price, losing two Mo Tian immortals, which was an extremely heavy loss. Could that Mo Tian be the mistress of the Purple Flame Demon Emperor? Her man was seriously injured here, and she suddenly attacked him? Could that Mo Tian be dead? No, with his strength, if he died, how could the Heavenly Tao not feel anything? What Bei Ming didn't know was that if Mo Tian died, the Heavenly Tao would really be indifferent. Help me kill another Yama, and then you can leave. The North Sea Immortal Emperor lost two Mo Tians. Now that Mo Tian has escaped, two Yamas are needed to pay with his life. Alas! Amitabha, this Buddha body of mine is not good at fighting. I may not be able to kill a Yama. Well, I will help you to restrain King Qingguang first. Amitabha Buddha, who always had a compassionate look on his face, also had a look of sorrow. His original body is temporarily fine. Although the two Buddha bodies cannot suppress the purple flame, he will not lose. At their level, it is normal for a battle to last for 3 to 5 years. Often, before they finish fighting, 2 batches of cannon fodder have died. At this moment, Mo Tian didn't care whether it was the immortal realm attacking the underworld, or the demon realm attacking the Buddhist kingdom. That is none of his business. He is just the initiator of the war, commonly known as the one who is responsible for killing but not burying. At this moment, he had already entered the border of the Northern Territory with pharmacist Liuli and Xiaoyao. He was quite familiar with this place and flew straight towards Ziwei Palace. At this moment, Coyote was tending to a few pots of fairy grass with a sad face. Then a figure with 7 or 8 golden swords stuck on his body appeared in front of her. Wow! Ghost! Coyote screamed. What are you yelling about? Your house is next to the underworld. Even if you see a ghost, there's no need to make such a fuss, right? Ah yes. It's the boss? You look scary. Hey, isn't my new skin unique? Mo Tian said teasingly. BG don't quite understand what you said. Buddha's hand said softly. Forget it if you don't understand. What about Ziwei? Palace Master, Qi Wu, why are you crying? She's dead? Mo Tian scratched his head. Did he implicate her? She's probably going to die soon. Wu, hey, don't just cry. Tell me in detail what happened. Isn't she still alive? I'll help you get her out. Mo Tian hates women crying the most. She has been recruited into the healing force to support the realm battlefield. She will be sent to the realm battlefield soon. I heard that many immortals died there, even 2 Luo Tian immortals died. Woohoo, it's over. The palace master is definitely going to die this time. I haven't been promoted to a celestial immortal yet. She can't die yet. What will I do if she dies? I can't get a permanent job. Why is my life so miserable? Coyote muttered to himself and complained while sobbing. No. Shouldn't your main concern be the safety of your master? Damn this fake sisterhood. Oh. Stop crying. Where do you think she is now? I'll take her away. Really? Buddha's hand stopped crying immediately. If this big guy was willing to take action, then the master of Ziwei Palace would definitely not be sent into the realm battlefield as cannon fodder. At this moment she didn't know that the instigator of this war was none other than Mo Tian in front of her, and that the 2 Luo Tians in their northern domain immortal realm were also killed by Mo Tian in front of her. If he knew this, he would probably die of fright on the spot. She is in the Big Dipper Palace. They are gathering troops there. I heard that almost all the fake immortals are dead in the realm battlefield. They are now urgently mobilizing a second wave of troops to provide support in the realm battlefield. Mo Tian knew that the Emperor Shenxiao's devastating attack had a very wide coverage area, and tens of thousands of fake immortals were annihilated in it, and even more than 100 true immortals and celestial immortals were injured. However, cannon fodder troops such as fake immortals and ghost soldiers were almost wiped out with one blow. This is also the tragedy of the week. They were not the target of this attack, they were just affected. Unfortunately, no one cared about their life or death. He didn't even feel a bit heartbroken, he just felt that the loss was heavy, so he immediately began to notify the rear to mobilize troops for the second wave of support. Ziwei celestial fairies were also among this reinforcement force, and their mission was to go in and treat the injuries of those injured fairies. Even if they were unwilling, there was no choice. This conscription order was issued by the Lord of Beidou Palace himself and was supervised by the 7-star gods of Beidou Palace. It was a compulsory conscription. Ziwei, don't worry, I will protect you. Last time you came back to help me look after my flowers, they really came back to life. Your skills are really good. After this realm war is over, I will definitely invite you to visit my star palace for a few days, and we will discuss flower growing techniques in depth. Kaiyang Star Lord spoke some not-so-serious words in a serious manner, his eyes occasionally sweeping over the proud features of Ziwei Fairy. This made Ziwei feel extremely sick, but she had to bow her head under someone's eaves, so she could only say it while suppressing her nausea. Thank you, Kaiyang Xingjuan. Oh. What are you thanking me for? We are so familiar with each other. He immediately went to grab the Ziwei Tianqian's soft hooves. Then. Boom. A figure with 6 or 7 golden lightsabers fell from the sky and stepped on Kaiyang Star Lord, stomping him into the ground. Ziwei, come on, lead the way for me. Ziwei was already dumbfounded, staring at the big guy in front of her who had 6 or 7 golden lightsabers stabbed into his body. It looked so painful, so how did you manage to remain calm? And it seems like you are enjoying it. You. Look. Like. Water. Huh. An extremely weak voice came from under Mo Tian's feet. Huh. Who's talking? Mo Tian looked around. All the assembled troops were looking at this strange man who fell from the sky in surprise. He had 6 or 7 golden lightsabers stuck in his body. Could he be a ghost from the underworld? That's not right. The ghosts in the underworld don't have such cool skins. When they achieve great enlightenment, they will reshape their bodies. Who the hell would come up with such a non-mainstream look? Like urban immortal cultivation, I've been dug out again. Urban immortal cultivation, I've been dug out again. Chapter 402 Great Freedom, Boss. Ziwei shouted weakly, then pointed at the ground below him. Mo Tian then looked down at his feet. What the hell? What are you doing in the dirt? Mo Tian looked at Kaiyang Star Lord who was almost being trampled to death under his feet with some confusion. He was trampled into the ground by you. Ziwei Tianxian continued to speak weakly. I stepped on it? Everyone at the scene nodded. Aha! I was just helping him study the path of Earth element. No need to thank me. Thank you so much, Hammer. Kaiyang Xingjuan was too tired to complain, as he was simply half dead. Stop talking nonsense. I need you to lead the way for me. Let's talk on the way. Mo Tian grabbed Ziwei and left, returning to Ziwei Palace. Chayote was pleasantly surprised to see that the boss had really brought back the master of Ziwei Palace. Boss, did you really save the palace master? Woo Palace Master, but I asked the boss to save you from the dire situation. Buddha's hand immediately took credit. But you just took me away like that, and afterwards the Beidou Palace held me responsible for my escape. Ziwei said with a sad face. It's okay, just say that I took you away by force, and the palace master won't dare to do anything to you. Mo Tian was quite confident. He didn't take a mere Beidou Palace master seriously. If anyone dared to cause trouble, he would just slap him to death. He has already killed Luo Tian, so a small golden immortal wouldn't make a difference. Boss, who are you looking for this time? You made quite a fuss last time, even Cao Tianzuan came to me. It was really scary. Ziwei Tianxian said, patting his chest, and suddenly there was a surge of waves. These low-level true immortals and heavenly immortals did not know that Cao Tianzuan was dead. They just knew that a great man had fallen, but they did not know who it was, and it was not good for them to speculate. If someone heard them talking nonsense and sued them, they would be in big trouble. Oh, sorry, Sawu is dead. He can't bother you anymore. This time, please take me to the immortal locking palace. The one who died was Sawu Tianzuan. How could it be? Ziwei and Fashugwa exclaimed in surprise. In their opinion, Sawu Tianzuan was so powerful. They didn't expect that the previous cry of grief from the heaven was due to the death of Sawu Tianzuan. Why not? He is the weakest among all the Luo Tian warriors in the realm battlefield. If he doesn't die, who will? Mo Tian said with a sneer. Is Sawu Tianzuan the weakest? They don't know, but the games played by those powerful people are too advanced and they have no say. Boss, these swords on you are quite unique. The corners of Ziwei Tianxian's eyes twitched a little. Doesn't it hurt? She and Coyote had the same question in their minds. Ahaha, what do you think of my new skin? Isn't it cool? Mo Tian was not ashamed of it but proud of it. He even turned around in a showy manner. The more he looked at his appearance, the cooler he felt. I have to say that the attack of a powerful immortal emperor is long-lasting. How long has it been going on? The sword power on the sword light has not dissipated much. Mo Tian is very satisfied. He believes that this skin should last for another 3 to 5 days. Mo Tian was chatting with Ziwei Tianxian. He was not too anxious. The battle in the realm battlefield would not end so soon. Both sides were really angry. Both Luo Tian and Yen Luo strongmen died. It would not be possible to calm down so quickly, but the situation would not escalate further in a high probability. That is to say, it's just about consuming cannon fodder, and when the cannon fodder on both sides can no longer bear the death, the war is almost over. The war between the demon realm and the Buddha kingdom was even simpler. It was simply the purple flame demon queen's revenge, wanting to get back at her for millions of years. As long as the Buddha gave her a beating to vent her anger, the war would almost be able to stop. Of course, doesn't the Buddha have any dignity? He certainly can't just stand there and get beaten. So there is still some fighting to do. Ziwei was speechless when she saw Mo Tian's smug look. Could it be that this big guy was struck dumb? Wouldn't he feel uncomfortable with 7 or 8 swords stuck in his body? Mo Tian had been trying to understand the sword principles of Emperor Shenshao and had not really paid attention to the question of whether it was difficult or not. In terms of understanding of the way of the sword, Emperor Shenshao is definitely in the top 10 of the 6 paths, so Mo Tian also gained a lot in this half-day. Now when he uses sword attacks, he no longer needs to use Hammer C and Hammer V to create a sky full of sword light. His previous sword skills were barely acceptable in the world of cultivation, but they were rubbish in the fairy world, not even worthy of carrying shoes for Emperor Shenshao. Before the sword light dissipated, he would carefully experience the high laws of swordsmanship, and he would surely have a deeper understanding. This would also provide some reference for him to evolve the laws of swordsmanship in the divine world in the future. Okay, do you know where the immortal locking palace is? I do know that the spiritual plants outside the immortal locking palace were cultivated by our Ziwei palace. But boss, what are you doing there? Those who are imprisoned there are all sinful immortals. Ziwei Tianxian asked cautiously. Damn sinful immortal, my brother is locked up in there, I'm going there this time just to smash it. Mo Tian glared, looking very fierce. Boss, what kind of people are your brothers? A demon monk, a sinful immortal. But she didn't dare to say it out loud for fear of being beaten. Boss, if I take you there and you destroy the immortal locking palace, I might be punished. Ziwei Tianxian was in a very difficult situation. It's not you who destroyed it, so why are you afraid? I destroyed the demon-suppressing tower and released the ghost Buddha, but they didn't cause you any trouble. Can you still resist in my hands? Mo Tian said nonchalantly. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. It seems so. Ziwei Tianxian nodded. Then let's go, where are you flying to? Fly to the east. The Ziwei fairy pointed in a direction. Before she could tell Buddha's hand to take good care of the fairy palace, she was taken away by Mo Tian and disappeared. As they hurried along the way, pharmacist Lioli poked Mo Tian's arm and asked in a low voice. This Ziwei Tianxian is pretty good looking. When did you meet her? Are you interested in her? After saying this, he made a face and grimaced. This monk is not a serious person. That's nonsense. I have found Miaoyin's reincarnation. Mo Tian said. You really found it? As Mo Tian's half-brothers, he and Si Nan naturally knew about Mo Tian's feelings for Miaoyin. Then have you ever? Mo Tian interrupted Hua Hashang before he could finish his words. She was reincarnated on the ancestral star in this life. She is immortal. I accepted her as my apprentice. Monk, flowers are not flowers and mist is not mist. Do you understand? Oh. I understand, but I understand. The problem is that even if it's Miaoyin, she doesn't know what you're thinking. Besides, she's gone. Is it meaningful to dwell on the past? Pharmacist Lioli wanted to persuade Mo Tian. I understand. You don't need to persuade me. I have nothing to worry about. At my current state, there is nothing to worry about. All I want is great freedom. Sure. As long as you're not dwelling on the past. Pharmacist Lioli stopped trying to persuade him, as Mo Tian's realm was no longer something he could understand. Like urban immortal cultivation, I've been dug out again. Urban immortal cultivation, I've been dug out again. Chapter 403, Trampled to Death. Ziwei Tianxian and Xiaoyao both pricked up their ears to listen to the big boss's gossip. It seems that no matter whether it is a human or a ghost, as long as it is a woman, there is no one who doesn't like to listen to gossip. Especially for a big shot of this level. Ziwei Tianxian thought that this big guy was just a Daluo Jingxian and at most a Luo Tian. But Xiaoyao actually saw that Mo Tian was able to fight against the immortal emperor. Although it was only one strike, he was the immortal emperor after all, and he even blasted the immortal emperor Bei Ming back several thousand meters. In her mind, this brother of pharmacist Lioli has reached the same height as the immortal emperor, Yin Tianzi and other top powerhouses. It turns out that the person this big guy likes is called Miaoyin, a reincarnation? Is it a dissolution of the army? Ziwei Tianxian and Xiaoyao were eating melons while thinking about random things. How far is this place from the immortal locking palace? I really don't know about that. In the past, we always used teleportation arrays, and we never flew directly over like this. Ziwei Tianxian was speechless. The fairyland was so vast. Without a teleportation array, it would take several years to fly even to the northern region, right? Fuck, why didn't you tell me earlier where the teleportation array is? Let's go through the teleportation array. Mo Tian slapped his forehead, wondering how he could have overlooked this. The world of cultivation has teleportation arrays that can cross star regions, so how could the fairy world not have a teleportation array? I'm still flying like a fool. How the hell do I have to fly until that time? Let's go to the teleportation array. Will others let us use it? Ziwei Tianxian said uncertainly. I want to use a teleportation array and need other people's permission. No, sir, you are powerful, but they are the ones who do the teleportation. In order to prevent other realms from invading and using the teleportation array, each teleportation array needs to be manually debugged to connect to the position of another teleportation array, so. Mo Tian understood, so those who were responsible for the transmission could not be beaten, but had to be coaxed. The problem is that Mo Tian is now a powerful enemy of the Northern Territory Immortal Realm. Who would give him a back door? What should we do? How about we disguise ourselves? Mo Tian suggested. He had experience in this matter. Then everyone looked at the 7 or 8 golden lightsabers stuck in his body. No matter how you disguise yourself, you can't hide your cool look, right? Mo Tian followed the gaze of the crowd and looked at the 7 or 8 lightsabers stuck in his body. Well, how about I find a place to rest for a few days and then go after my lightsaber wears off? Mo Tian suggested. That's fine. Otherwise, let's go back to my Ziwei Palace. We haven't walked far anyway, and we are not familiar with other places. Ziwei Tianxian said. Okay. Let's go back then. So, Mo Tian took everyone back. At this moment, the Lord of Kaiyang Palace was leading people to interrogate Buddha's hand and other imperial flower messengers in Ziwei Fairy Palace. Where is your palace master? Has she ever come back? Do you know what it means to disobey the orders of the immortal court and leave the army without permission? You will be sent to the immortal locking palace. The voice of the Kaiyang Palace master was still a little weak. The last time the 7 palace masters of the Beidu Palace intercepted the ghosts, Buddhas and spirits, they were seriously injured by the Red Lotus Karma fire. Although the lives of the 7 star gods were saved, it would take at least hundreds of years for them to recover from their injuries, and their souls would be even more difficult to recover. Therefore, this time the 7 of them did not enter the realm battlefield, but were responsible for the dispatch of the cannon fodder army in the rear. Just now, Mo Tian almost stepped on him to death. This idiot didn't dare to cause trouble to Mo Tian, and now he came to cause trouble for the group of imperial flower messengers in Ziwei Palace. He dared to bring people here to cause trouble only after he got the exact news that Mo Tian had flown away with the Ziwei fairy, hoping to save some face. That Mo Tian is a golden immortal boss, so he doesn't dare to act rashly. He had not received any news about Mo Tian at this moment, and he didn't even know that the Ghost Buddha was released by Mo Tian. After all, it was impossible for Sawu to spread the news that he was beaten up by Mo Tian and his top-grade magic weapon was stolen. Therefore, the fact that Mo Tian destroyed the demon suppression tower and released the Ghost Buddha was only known to the bigwigs from all walks of life. Except for some witnesses, almost all other strong people below the Luo Tian level did not know about Mo Tian. Therefore, the Lord of Kaiyang Palace still only thought that Mo Tian was a golden immortal who came to pursue the celestial fairy Ziwei. This time, he must have come and forcibly took Ziwei away because he learned that Ziwei was recruited to join the troops to support the battlefield in the realm. This made the Lord of Kaiyang Palace very unhappy, because he had incorporated Ziwei into his team this time, and was looking to take this opportunity to get closer to her, and maybe he could capture the Ziwei celestial fairy. But this golden immortal boss comes to steal my love again, which is really abominable. Unfortunately, I can't beat them, so I can only act like an ostrich and bury my head in the ground. Of course, I am forced to do this. Being humiliated in front of tens of thousands of soldiers and 6 other hall masters made him angry and ashamed, so he came to Ziwei Hall to seek some face for himself. Since your palace master has been taken away and cannot support the front line, then as the leader of the Imperial Flower Envoys, you will take over this trip on behalf of your palace master. The Lord of Kaiyang Palace stared at Buddha's hand and said coldly. Me? I'm just a true immortal. Hee hee. True immortals can't do that. You also major in the wood element. Even if your recovery ability is not as good as that of a celestial immortal, you can still help some true immortals recover from their injuries. The Lord of Kaiyang Palace snorted coldly and said indifferently. It's over, Chayote, oh Chayote, the palace master has escaped with his life, but you are about to die, ouch. Why am I so miserable? I haven't even become the boss of Ziwei Palace yet. Whoa. Chayote was speechless and choked with sorrow. She felt that the road ahead was bleak. Her immortal journey was about to reach the end, and she would die at the age of 38,472. She was still so young and had not yet enjoyed the best years of her life. She glanced reluctantly at the huge crepe myrtle flower where the master of the Ziwei Palace often practiced, then sighed and prepared to accept her impending fate. Then. Boom! Buddha's hand watched as boss Missouri Tian, who had just left, came back with his own palace master, the evil monk, and his girlfriend. Then. He stepped on the Kaiyang Palace master and slammed him into the ground. 2 consecutive hits, and the man was seriously injured. This time he was really stepped to death by Mo Tian. This is probably the most unjust death of the North Star Lord in the history of the Northern Domain Immortal Realm, right? What's that noise? Mo Tian wondered, feeling something soft under his feet, very similar to the feeling he had just had when he stepped on the Lord of Kaiyang Palace. Then he saw Chayote open his mouth wide, looking like an idiot, and pointed at Mo Tian's feet. He. She couldn't speak clearly. Everyone followed Buddha's hand and looked towards Mo Tian's feet. Why is it him again? Everyone was speechless, this was all monkey poop. This idiot is destined to be stepped on to death by Mo Tian, there is no way to escape. Look at him, he is looking for it but he wants to be stepped on. Mo Tian said that he is innocent too, he really didn't want to step on him to death, who knew it would be so accurate? Chapter 404 Friendly Exchange. Looking at the Kaiyang Palace master who was already without breath, Ziwei and Chayote were a little confused. What should they do now? The Lord of Kaiyang Palace of Beidouxing Palace died in their Ziwei Palace. Even he couldn't explain it with his 9 mouths. Boss, what should we do? If we can't explain this, everyone in my Ziwei Palace will be arrested and imprisoned in the Locking Immortal Palace. Ziwei Tianxian almost ran out of energy to speak. It's okay. You didn't kill him. Leave it to me. I have experience. Mo Tian patted his chest and said this, and the lightsaber on his body made a clanging sound. Pharmacist Lioli was speechless. You have experience in everything you do, so there is nothing you can't handle, right? Now Ziwei and Chayote are both at a loss and can only wait and see how this big guy handles the situation. After all, Ziwei knew that Mo Tian had great magical powers. Well, leave it to me. I'll be back soon. Then Mo Tian carried the body of Kaiyang Palace master and flew towards Beidou Palace. What are you going to do at Beta's Star Palace, boss? The Ziwei celestial fairy asked the medicine master Lioli hesitantly. Maybe I should have a friendly exchange with them. Pharmacist Lioli said this somewhat against his will. He himself did not quite believe what he said. He knew old man Mo's bad temper too well. He was a person who was afraid of trouble. The best solution to solve problems is to humanely destroy all those who like to create trouble. Ziwei Tianxian and Buddha's hand looked at the extremely unconfident expression of pharmacist Lioli and instantly turned into a bitter face. Aren't you his best brother? Why don't you trust your own judgment? Mo Tian flew above the Beidou Palace and looked at the army still gathering below. He threw the Lord of Kaiyang Palace in his hand directly in front of the 7-star palace. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 6 rays of light flashed out from the main hall. They were the masters of the other 6 halls. Kaiyang. The 6 people became furious when they saw the corpse of the Lord of Kaiyang Palace. Who did it? A dark-faced man yelled. I did it. Mo Tian's cold voice came from the air. Who are you? Why did you kill my Star Palace master? Another hall master questioned Mo Tian, and she was a female Star King. Nothing, he hurt my foot and I accidentally stepped on him to death. Mo Tian was just stating a fact. He really was accidentally stepped on to death. But these words did not sound so polite to the ears of the 6-star gods. What was the reason? Did it hurt your foot? So you stepped on him to death? You bullied us and you are still seriously injured? Humph. This is Beidou's Star Palace, not a place for you to act wildly. Please surrender and wait for my palace master to come back and I will deal with you. The female star looked pale and spoke with a weak voice, obviously someone who had not yet recovered from a serious injury. Huh, your palace master? You're still sending me away? Mo Tian just laughed out loud. Not to mention your palace master, even if it's Sawu Tianzuan, I can kill him at will. Mo Tian's words stunned the 6 people. 2 Luotians fell today. Run away. Go to the boundary battlefield. The 6 people were not fools. This man dared to carry the corpse of the Lord of Kaiyang Palace here, which showed that he was not afraid of them. In addition, 2 Luo Tian died today. They must be the Luo Tian from their northern domain immortal realm. There were only 3 Luo Tian in the northern domain immortal realm, and 2 of them died today. Moreover, this person directly said that he killed Sawu Tianzuan. Regardless of whether it was true or false, it was obvious that this person was not someone they could deal with. At this moment, the only thing he could do was to run away and go to the battlefield in the realm to have a chance of survival. However, at their level, they are nothing but trash in front of Mo Tian. Mo Tian instantly appeared in front of the dark-faced man and grabbed his neck with his hand. I'm fine. Kabie. He directly broke the neck, and the divine power in his hand gushed out, and the immortal body was instantly destroyed into ashes. A white light flashed. It was the soul of the Lord of the Death Hall. He looked around in a daze, then let out a silent roar. Then the heavenly Tao sensed his soul and immediately pulled him up to the sky. He had no way to resist. Not destroying your soul is already the greatest kindness to you. Strictly speaking, these 6 people were implicated. Mo Tian was very principled in doing things. He was afraid of trouble, so as long as the trouble was gone, he would not insist on doing things to the extreme. Of course, people like the Lord of Kaiyang Palace are in trouble. Kaiyang's soul was destroyed by Mo Tian before it even left his body. This idiot made trouble again and again. He deserved to have his soul destroyed. Next. Mo Tian flashed again and appeared in front of the female star. I am Yaoguang. Kabie. No matter if you are naked or not, I will kill you all. Continue. Crack. Crack. There were several crisp sounds in succession, and then the divine power shattered the immortal body. The 6 white souls returned to the heaven and reincarnated. Tens of thousands of fake immortals and thousands of real immortals in the Star Palace stared blankly at this horrifying scene. Just a few clicks, and 6 heavenly immortal palace masters were gone. Then what level of strong man is this person? Golden immortal? Impossible. Even a golden immortal wouldn't kill 6 heavenly immortals so easily, right? Daluo Jinxian? Well, it is very likely that only a Daluo Jinxian can kill a celestial immortal so easily. It is too powerful. There's nothing to see. Let's go home, each to our own mothers. Let's all go. Mo Tian dispersed the immortal army that had gathered to support the realm battlefield just like he was dispersing the crowd watching a fight. The true immortals looked at each other in bewilderment. Disbanded? My dear, there is more to this chapter. Please click on the next page to continue reading. It's even more exciting later. How the hell can this be dispersed? If they really dispersed, would they be considered deserters, and locked up in the immortal locking palace after the investigation? But the problem is that the 7 celestial palace masters who were in charge of their support army are all dead, which is really fucked up. They don't know what to do now. When Mo Lao Mo saw that the army below did not disperse as he said, he suddenly felt a little unhappy. My words don't work? No, sir, we were summoned to support the army on the battlefield of the boundary domain. Now that the 7 palace masters are gone, we dare not leave without permission, otherwise the Lord of Baidu Palace will blame us later. A true immortal mustered up his courage, bowed, and said with some embarrassment. It's okay. Just say that I, Mo Tian, came to take revenge on the Northern Territory and forcefully dispersed you. Otherwise, I will massacre you. That way, they won't be able to blame you. Mo Tian's words made them stunned, and then they felt happy. To be honest, they didn't want to go to the battlefield. The level of this battle was too high, and even a golden immortal might not be able to escape unscathed. They went in purely to be cannon fodder, but since there were orders from above, they dared not disobey. Otherwise, it would be death, or eternal imprisonment in the locking immortal palace, a life worse than death. It would be better to return to heaven, at least you can live again. Those who can become true immortals will have no problem continuing to be human beings in the next life. Thousands of people were talking about it at the scene, and they all felt that this was an opportunity to save their lives. Of course, they would not definitely die on the battlefield, but this war was really too dangerous. There are too many top-level experts. If any of them are hit by a large-scale attack, there will be huge casualties. It can be said that it is a life-or-death situation. Just like the troops that entered before, one Imperial Pearl almost wiped out the cannon fodder troops from both worlds. Like urban immortal cultivation, I've been dug out again. Urban immortal cultivation, I've been dug out again. Chapter 405 Revenge from the Strong. Seeing that the crowd below had not dispersed and was still talking there, old demon Mo became really impatient. You don't want to leave, right? Then don't blame me for forcing you away. As Mo Lao Mo stretched out his hand, a large amount of blue fairy energy swarmed in, forming a huge water tornado in an instant. Before the crowd below could say anything, tens of thousands of people were sucked into the huge water tornado, like a huge fully automatic washing machine, which made all the immortals dizzy. Mo Tian did not kill them. He was not a person who killed indiscriminately. These people were also helpless and were like cannon fodder. Whether they could survive depended entirely on the mood of the strong men above them. This war was originally instigated by Mo Tian. He would not feel sad for those dead ants, but since these people have not yet entered the battlefield, Missouri Tian doesn't mind giving them a hand and allowing them to escape the disaster. Countless immortals were carried high into the sky by the water tornado, and no one knew where they were thrown to. As for whether he would die from the fall, Missouri Tian was not worried. Even a fake immortal would not be that fragile. Kaiyang would be trampled to death by Mo Tian because Mo Tian's physical strength was so terrifying that it far exceeded the extreme Dao. Even a golden immortal would be trampled half to death by a casual kick from Mo Tian, let alone Kaiyang, who was seriously injured and had not yet recovered. He was lucky that he didn't die the first time because he didn't step on a vital part. The second time Mo Tian came down and stepped on his crown, directly destroying the sea of consciousness of the Lord of Kaiyang Palace. He deserved his bad luck, otherwise Mo Tian might not have deliberately killed such an ant. After solving the problem, Mo Tian returned to Ziwei Palace. Solved? Pharmacist Lioli asked. Well, a few little scumbags, it won't be a big deal. I've taken the matter upon myself and I've also disbanded all the assembled troops. No one will bother you. Solved means? Ziwei Tianxian asked with difficulty. Oh. They couldn't wait to return to the heavenly Tao, so I kindly helped them, and they thanked me very much. Mo Tian's greatest strength is that he never blushes when he talks nonsense. After hearing Mo Tian's words, Ziwei and Chayote could only remain silent. This big guy has no rules at all and does whatever he wants. However, he is extremely powerful and no one can do anything to him. However, the big guy does all this for them, so the two women can't say anything. If Mo Tian had not taken action, Ziwei would have been dragged to the battlefield to die. So, Mo Tian was equivalent to saving her life. Ziwei was very grateful to Mo Tian in her heart. Nothing else happened in the next few days, and the news about Baidu Palace spread to the battlefield of the realm on the same day. It is not surprising that Mo Tian appeared at the border of the Northern Territory. He had originally fled to the Northern Territory and was waiting for the war in the border battlefield to subside. If Mo Tian was still wandering around in the fairyland, the Northern Ming Immortal Emperor would definitely hunt him down. But the news I received at this moment was that Mo Tian actually went and killed the 7 celestial masters of the Beidou Star Palace. He also used a spell to disperse all the cannon fodder troops they had assembled, but did not kill them all. What exactly does Mo Tian mean? Pure revenge? You are such a great master, why do you want to kill a few immortals to take revenge? Isn't it a bit childish? It seems inconsistent with his identity as a super strong man. Instead, it seems like a child venting his anger. It can only be said that the 7 celestial gods of the Big Dipper Palace were unlucky to have run into Mo Tian's trap. As for the 7 dead heavenly immortal palace masters, no one cared about them, including their direct superior, the Beidou Palace Master. They were just 7 half-crippled pieces of trash. If they died, they died. Even if they didn't die, he would ask them to resign after this matter was over and select 7 powerful celestial beings to serve as the 7 hall masters of the Beidou Palace. Otherwise, if he allowed 7 people who barely gasped for breath when walking to continue to serve as hall masters, he would be laughed to death by other golden immortals. For example, this realm war, and in previous wars, his Beidou Star Palace was always the main combat force. This time, he was asked to go back to the rear to take care of logistics for Beidouxing Palace, which made him very angry. Compared to the great battle in the realm battlefield, the commotion caused by Mo Tian was just a small matter and would not even attract too much attention. However, it is definitely impossible to just let Mo Tian do whatever he wants in the Northern Domain Immortal Realm. However, the high-end combat power of the Northern Domain Immortal Realm is basically tied up in the battlefield of the realm. It seems that we can only ask for help from the eastern region. Mo Tian has quasi-emperor level combat power, so it is unlikely that Dong Huang Tai will help. We can only ask the 4 saints for help. The Vermilion Bird Saint of the southern region. Forget it. He and old man Manhwa don't get along. I won't go looking for trouble. I'd better ask Saint Lord Qinglong for help. It's unlikely to kill him. The main thing is to ask Saint Lord Qinglong to help stay in the Northern Territory to prevent Mo Tian from messing around in the Northern Territory's fairyland. As for hunting down Mo Tian, he would have to wait until the realm war was over before he could do it himself. After the divine thought transmitted the message, a Daluo Jinxian immediately withdrew from the battlefield of the realm and went to the eastern region to seek help. Mo Tian asked for a quiet room and carefully comprehended the power of sword laws and the power of gold laws contained in the golden lightsaber. Emperor Shenshao has cultivated both of these laws to perfection, especially the law of swordsmanship, which is the supreme way that transcends the law of the 5 elements. It is extremely mysterious. Mo Tian's sword skills are far behind those of Emperor Shenshao. Mo Tian's swordsmanship can only be considered a minor accomplishment, and he hasn't even reached the threshold of the laws. For 5 consecutive days, Mo Tian was quietly comprehending the power of rules. 5 days later, the rules contained in the golden lightsaber dissipated, and Mo Tian came out of seclusion. Mo Tian expressed regret for the loss of the limited-time new skin. He still liked it very much and felt it was very handsome. He could also tear down the ghost monks by tearing it apart when he had nothing to do. Now that the lightsaber that was hindering his disguise had disappeared, it was almost time for the group to set off. Mo Tian is okay. Not many people know him, so he just needs to dress up a little. It's not that easy to make Yao Shilioli. Just grow his hair and a beard. It's mainly Xiaoyao. The ghost aura on her cannot be concealed. But this is not a problem for old demon Mo, as Xiaoyao is a member of the ghost tribe and is good at hiding. The immortal body's virtualization is the ghost immortal's innate magical power. All she needs is something that is big enough for her to hide her virtual ghost body. If I had known earlier, Mo Tian should have brought his car up. He thought at the time that it would be too ostentatious to drive the car up, so he did not bring it up, but gave it to Zhang Weiwei to use. The palace-class car that Zhang Weiwei used to own is now used by Zhang Yaqing. He couldn't use the magic weapon of the Blessed Land when he came to the Fairyland, so he left it to Tianmen to be used as a means of transportation to and from the ancestral star. Otherwise, there would be no need to go through so much trouble. Just let the pharmacist Liuli and Xiaoyao go in directly and take care of it. It seems that I should bring the magic weapon from the Blessed Land with me next time I go back. Although he carries the Sun God realm in his body, he can enter that realm at any time, but others cannot. There is also the power of the world of goddess Shiha in it, and people without divinity cannot enter. Finally, Ziwei thought of a solution, which was to find a lot of spiritual plants. Mo Tian and pharmacist Lioli disguised themselves as the royal flower messengers of Ziwei Palace and sent the spiritual plants to Locking Immortal Palace for planting. And Xiao Yao just happened to have his immortal body hidden among a large number of spiritual plants. This plan was simply perfect. Like urban immortal cultivation, I've been dug out again. Urban immortal cultivation, I've been dug out again.